You've chosen the presentation for Bills of Quantities, topic 6, which is a part of the subject Construction Economics 1. Bills of Quantities traditionally is a major role of professional quantity surveyors to measure and prepare bills of quantities for builders to tender upon, to price, to contract administer, and to final account. The emphasis has been the majority of the quantity surveyors' work, and it's diminished the bill itself in recent years. But having said that, the fundamentals of the bills of quantities and its format has changed a little, and it still plays a very important role. And this role is discussed and summarised in this particular presentation. So far, let's just summarise a couple of the course aspects. Contacting me, you can email me, or you can use the forum, the Q&A forum. Or otherwise, if you do have any questions, you can also discuss it amongst yourselves with other students in the student forum. Be very clear about the assessment submission dates for this subject, and also very clear about the presentation and requirement for assessment format. This subject, be very clear also about this is a summary of the subject, bills of quantities, and it's not to be taken as a replacement for the study guide, the course notes, or any other reading material. First, let's just consider what is the purpose of the bills of quantities. I've shown a picture here of a suit being made, and the reason being is that it's very similar to producing a bill of quantities for a building. When having a suit made, the first question is, what will it cost? So a tailor will break that up and provide you with a list of components and how that suit, how much it will cost you and how long it'll take. A prospective building owner naturally wants to know before placing the order what the cost of the building will be. So the architect can prepare drawings and specification and define exactly what's required by the builder. And who cannot quote simply by looking at the drawings alone. So the tailor could estimate the suit requires many metres of clothing, lining, so many hours of labour and so forth. And this will add up, including his profit, to the total amount of the cost. He does not work out every time what the customer asks, but he deals in limited types of where he's very familiar. And in the case of buildings, each has its own characteristics. So a bill of quantity is going to be a little bit different due to site conditions or something a little bit unique about the delivery or otherwise the design. So the builder is going to work out a probable cost with detailed labour and material for a building, which is much more complicated than the suit, but it's the same concept. Many benefits of using a bills of quantities, and I've just summarised them here. The fact that it's measured once, it's measured by one person, and that's actually distributed to a number of different builders. The risk, and the risk associated with interpretation of what's meant, the reading through the specification and the drawings. It's a consistent task which is done again by one person, and there's continuity on how the building is measured. Remeasurement. Again, with a bill of quantities, because you've got those schedules and that list of items of what makes up the building, it's very easy to adjust any components of the building. It might be doors, it could be a number of different things that changes, and it's easy because you've got how many doors are already there, a price next to it, and so forth. An industry preference. There's a lot of confidence in some ways with a bill that's what it is, and it clearly scopes all those contract documents. If there's any errors found, it can be easily adjusted. You don't have to actually go through and look at all the details of the drawings and the specification again. And as I said before, it can be used as a basis of cost data, and that's not just in the current project, but also in future projects too, to determine accuracy of future tenders. To also use as a basis of cost data for future estimates as well. And the bill is also an accurate pre-tender, so it's a level playing field for all builders to price and compete on. As I've already said, the benefits of the bill, the real main benefits as the project commences in the design and the delivery, is its real benefit is in the tendering stage, where builders can compare prices, and then the administration phase of the project, used as an administration document to contract administer the project. In preparing the bill of quantities, it's easy to, when you break it up into three main areas, and I've identified them here as measuring, which is where you have all the documents, the specification, the drawings, any other schedules and other specified architectural or engineering documents with you. So measuring it, putting that all together. The squaring up, which is where all the volumes and so forth are calculated and created you create a final number. And then the write-up, which is actually putting together the real description for each one of those measurement quantities into a clearer picture, which is for the builder to price. A picture often has, it might have a full description of what's required, a certain beam, a certain type of hardware, whatever it might be, but it might also in the write-up still provide them with some reference back to a drawing detail or back to a specific product, naming a particular item. It's all about making it much more efficient, quicker and easier for the builder to follow, and then also for when you're starting to administer the project too. So the bill of quantities really is a communication document that's used for several different functions. When the bills come back at tender, it's an important task to actually review the tenders. Usually the lowest tenderer or tender is the one which is anticipated to be accepted. The bill itself needs to be checked in the sense that do the rates look relatively correct? Are there imbalances, or is there loading? In the sense that some of those trades, those earlier trades, might be dearer than what they should be. So earlier trades such as earthworks, it may be a little bit more expensive or than market rates than what it would be in higher trades like finishing trades. Is it arithmetically correct? So is it added up correctly? Are the extensions and those type of calculations done? Is there any imbalances between rates as well? And in the price bill, is there any large area discovered in the proportion of the cost of the job that may influence the bill to withdraw from the tender? The other component with price bills and checking them is to ensure that all addenders, notices, tenderers, and those type of documents are included in the bill of quantities and have been allowances have been made for. The other issue when checking is to ensure that all the trade totals are correct, and all those totals have been carried forward to the summary, and then the summary actually adds up to what the project total has actually been calculated at for the builder. A common question is, why is there an addenda? Now, that's quite a good question, but the race to get documents ready, to get the bill measured and so forth. When measuring the bill, it's quite often that there's inadequacies or differences found amongst the documentation. Sometimes it can't be included in the bill of quantities up to tender. There may be other issues associated with differences in documentation that it hasn't been able to notify tenderers at the time of sending out all the documents, and so an addenda is necessary in those last few days of the tender being out. But more than likely, they're often queries from builders themselves that have found discrepancies in the bill of quantities or in other documents, and in other documents that then should be included in the bill themselves, or also consultants that have not been able to issue changes to documentations while the quantity surveyor or cost engineer has been preparing the bill of quantities for tender. I come to the end of topic 6, bills of quantities, and it's a good opportunity to go back and read through the study guide, refer to any subject text, course reading material, and also look at the workbook activities that need to be completed for this topic. If there's any questions, you can email me directly or post them to the Q&A forum, or otherwise continue a discussion with other students in the student discussion forum.